Like me and Corey do it, where you just take Corey's part?
Come on. Google Docs is so slow.
Yeah, it can be. Basically, you would just be doing the
I'm not
intro.
Corey Scott. Unless it's going to shoot in your mouse without thinking, and we will spoil things, and we will swear at liberals.
I love that. I'm so glad we're on air right now and hearing that. That's the cold open right there. We will swear at liberals. All right, let's go. Hello and welcome to the ElseNerds, a production of Galactic Netcasts. I'm Gregor Sprague.
I'm not Corey Scott.
And for all info on this show, including show notes and subscription links, go to ElseNerds.com. And for other Galactic Netcast programs, go to gncast.com.
On ElseNerds, we tend to shoot off our mouths without thinking, and so we both spoil things, and we will swear at liberals.
Yes, we will swear liberally, and we will spoil things. So that is your warning. So as you heard by the accent and the soundings and all that stuff, this is not Corey Scott. This is our producer, Beatmaster, who is coming in. And also, I have to say, hi, we're on Alpha Geek Radio. Holy crap, this is actually pretty cool.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So no talking by us like, hey, can we put on? It's just like Dave just messaging the host producers chat, like, so every show that goes on Galactic Netcast will now be on Alpha Geeks in one of their channels doesn't have anything going on. I'm like, okay, cool, no pressure. Which also means I will throw this out that we have a chat room in with the chat realm thing. Just /join hashtag Galactic Netcasts, and you can come chat with me. I'm in there right now. So, Beat, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Had some interesting week, but all up to do some ElseNerd stuff.
Nice. Yeah, same here. I mean, I'm off of the Friday when I think the last week's episode came out on audio. Was my first day off after 12 days of working straight, and that was just so much fun. I mean, and so luckily the schedule is a little lighter this week, and everyone's like, oh, but think of the paycheck. Yeah, okay, so I worked this last week, I almost worked about 50 hours, but it doesn't help if I like can't actually enjoy the time, have the time to spend that money without being like, okay, let me get this or that for work. It's like, what do I want? Sort of deal. But yeah. But enough bitching. Haha, there's the swearing. I was actually sort of curious as to how this is going to go. If like who is going to fill Corey's shoes and be the swearing one. And also, it's interesting that we are going up against Dave and Brad, who are doing Trivia Geeks right now live, which is pretty cool. But enough about that. Enough jibber jabber. Let's get into some news. And the first bit of news is that Kevin Smith confirms Mallrats 2 will be a 10-episode TV series. And he also reveals that MGM has found a home for the Buckaroo Banzai series. So, from what I understand, the Mallrats show is going to be something separate. Movie is going to be something separate. To where this is going to be, they're going to do a traditional sequel to Mallrats, but as a TV show. And yeah, so I don't know, is that right? Are we, because I heard at one point that we're getting Mallrats 2 and then Mallbrats, like with Mallrats.
That was a rumor, but that's out of the way. I listened to Hollywood Babylon today earlier on, and he explained it further because he was on a radio show before Hollywood Babylon, and then he explained further what the details are, and he was shopping around to do the movie with Universal, not willingly because they have the rights to the title, and his agent said he could get the title without issue, just arrange something with them, and then he was told that it's not possible. So he had to either make Universal pay the movie or do a split. And then he went on to talk about with the TV execs, because he had new connections through Flash, directing Flash, and it was a good experience for him and the other side as well. And so then it went on further that they said, okay, the idea is not bad. We can extend the story in a way it comforts Kevin. He doesn't have to rush or to bring it into a 1.5 hour movie. He can continue the thing as it is. And I thought the rumor was about Mallrats, that it was with his kid and Johnny Depp's kid as well.
Yeah.
Which is still possible, I guess. Kevin always puts his friends and family in the show, so I wouldn't be surprised that he still will do that.
No,
That's about it.
And so, I mean, this is cool because, I mean, this is Kevin Smith. I think Kevin really wants to get back into TV. Like, because he did the Clerks animated TV series, but then it was like he did little bits here. Like he was a producer. Yeah, he was a producer and he directed the first episode or the pilot episode of Reaper. And then he directed the one episode this year of The Flash. And I think he realizes that I think he's sort of leaning to that road of doing more of this thing here, doing television, which makes sense because, I mean, you can tell longer stories in here. You don't have to be set up with stuck with an 1.5 to 2 hours for a film, which makes perfect sense.
This is the writer is king in TV, unlike the movies, and that's the best place for him. And I have high hopes, but I'm careful because I don't want to make him like he has to be the best. He has to do perfect. He can fail or he can do mediocre, and I will be happy for him. But I still enjoy his personality and everything that goes along with it.
It's one of those things, and I'm starting to learn this, that as long as the people who are making this media, whatever it might be, as long as they like it, as long as they are enjoying it, I'm happy with it. Whether I like it or not, just like if I don't like it, it means I'm just not going to watch it. But the difference is if they didn't like it when they were making it, then that's going to hurt me watching it, even if I did like what they made. Sort of deal.
Jennifer Lawrence.
I have no idea what you could possibly mean. But yeah, so I mean, this is interesting. There's no timetable. I think it's just going to be, what takes place 20 years after the first. And it'll have, I think they said it'll have almost all the original cast back.
Jason Lee's confirmed.
Yeah, Jason Lee's confirmed. Which I don't know why the other guy isn't confirmed, because what's he been doing? I can't even think of his name.
From the block or something like that. That new girl guy. No, but I have hopes that Ben Affleck will
Jeremy
show up.
London. That's the guy I was thinking of. Yeah,
I mean, I thought you were talking about Ben Affleck.
No. Ben Affleck. I mean, he might be a little bit more tricky to get because of the fact that he is currently writing a Batman movie and going to be starring in said Batman movie, and then the Justice League movie, and the hopefully future hopefully other good things with that movie. But and the same thing with a few of the other characters or other actors, like Michael Rooker, and all that. It's like there's some of these guys that you see, okay, yeah, I could see them being in here, but then it's at the same time, it's like other ones, it's like, well, they seem pretty busy, but you never know.
You think we're gonna see the guy still staring at the magic eye picture and wanting to see his ship, sailing boat?
I think they have a freaking hilarious joke right there with the first episode. It's just in the pilot because Ethan Suplee, the guy who you're talking about, lost a lot of weight. So they can make a joke there of what's his name? William, what have you been doing this whole time? I've been trying to find the sailboat. Is that how you lost all the weight? Whoa, I'm skinny. Dang it, I almost had the sailboat. Sort of deal. But that's just my horror.
That's
yeah. And then boom, it's done, and they bring him in other ways. Sort of deal. But I don't know. I mean, I think he could come in, and do all these things. I mean, I don't see why not. And I don't see why a lot of these people, even I'm going to throw in there, even Ben Affleck. I could see him coming in here for a guest spot in an episode or two, sort of deal.
Maybe Mark Hamill as well. Just takes because he was on James Bob's Strike Back.
Yeah, he was on James Bob. I was like, wait, he was in Mallrats too. I know he was in.
I know, but that would be a nice touch.
Yeah, I mean, but then that gets into the thing of if it becomes a big success, and we don't even know where it's going to go. I personally would sort of like to see it go onto a streaming service, like go over to a Netflix or a Hulu or an Amazon Prime, as opposed to a network.
He promised there will be no restrictions on language and everything else. It will be full on.
Yeah.
No broadcast thing.
Well, in that case, then I mean, that would still open up for me. Then that would open up like the premium cable stations. So the HBOs, the Showtimes,
AMC. His friend has friends there.
I could see AMC, but there'd still be a little bit of language restriction. Because I mean, we have Negan in here on The Walking Dead, and he hasn't said his favorite word from the comic book. I mean, he's still freaking terrifying, and that's great casting by Jeffrey Dean Morgan and everyone who's still been out of shape about the fact that they didn't show who he killed can go suck a dick. But I mean, yeah, it's sort of stupid. And
other suggestion I heard was Comedy Central, which is a little bit better for that.
I could see Comedy Central just because of the fact that more than likely it's going to be a comedy.
And that's the thing, finding a place for comedy like FX or Stars or the others are more into serious fucking business.
Yeah.
And I don't see them putting up Mallrats, but yeah, the sky is the limit with that.
I don't know, because like I could honestly, the other place I could see this going, which would sort of scare me, which I'll talk about later, is like a place like Comic-Con HQ. Like, they partner up with who's doing, I think what Legendary is doing Comic-Con HQ.
Yeah.
Which so hold on, that if that is Legendary, then that's weird that they're doing another. Is it Legendary? Because that doesn't sound right. Because with the news, it wasn't a
Lionsgate.
Yeah, Lionsgate. I would say because they're doing their own one with Geek and Sundry and Nerdist called Alphas. So why are they doing two streaming services?
For the new listeners, outside of the US, so it's 4 a.m. Please be kind.
Yes. Be kind, rewind. But no, so and then I have no excuse because it's 9:52 right now, and
Sarah Lane is there, so we should based on that, and I love also the show they do there with John Campea and John Snap and the other good guys. So it's worthwhile, but I still didn't get to watch the channel because there's so much content going on. Damn it!
Yeah,
so, but I think it's worth the $50 a year.
Yeah. So here, the other bit of news that we got, the second story is one that I'm excited about in multiple ways here. And this is the first Star Trek VR game arrives this fall. Ubisoft's Star Trek Bridge Crew has you taking control of a virtual ship. And this seems like the next step or a separate step from the... Oh, I cannot think of the name of that game that they played on Twitch.
Artemis.
Yeah, Artemis. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that. Like this is sort of what I'd expect from VR things, from VR games, and I don't have a VR headset. I would love to get one, but I think I'll wait until we really get content out there, and more than just Hulu has a VR app where you're watching it on a big screen and you could turn your head and not see the whole video. It's like no, if you're gonna do content made for the VR, not like you don't want to be in your crappy room. We'll put on this headset and you'll be in this magical, modern looking house. Sort of deal. But no, this is really cool. They announced this before E3, which is cool. Because E3 is going on right now. So Galactic Gaming News, I believe, is doing a lot of stuff for us. I believe Sean's got quite a bit of stuff going on over there. But so what do you think of this? Because this is set in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek universe, and it has you taking on various stations as either the captain, the engineer, the helm, or tactical stations of the remarkably Enterprise-like ship Aegis as it resettles what's left of the Vulcan population. So what do you think of this?
Well, do you see the trailer as well, the teaser?
I didn't actually watch it. Watch it.
Levar Burton and Jerry Ryan and Carl Urban were there to try it out, and you saw their reaction to it, and they were very pleased. Take it with kind of grain of salt because they're paid to do it, I think, and there's no reason to say it's something bad because they wanted to experience that for real. At least Levar Burton said he wanted something like that, and when he experienced it, it was exactly what he would imagine a game to be, that is about Star Trek. And that's high praise from him.
Okay, so just tell me, when LeVar tried it on, they have a band that went around the VR headset for his alone.
It's the Stevie Wonder of space, yeah.
But actually, that'd be a pretty cool little Easter egg thing. Like you just type in LaForge, and you get the ability. You get Geordi LaForge's visor, which means you see in all these different spectrums or whatnot. I think it'd be cool, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like a little gimmick thing.
It would be possible because there was a show where they show it also from his perspective, so there's already a reference for that. But more interesting, there were the crew on it. The captain was a woman, yay for that one, and it was a team game. So you don't do it on your own. You have to be in sync with other people doing their specific task, as you said, with Artemis, and finding up to 5 players, I think, was a whole big deal.
Yeah.
When you have a guild or a clan doing that, it must be a ton of fun. And I don't worry about the J.J. Abrams connection because I don't think they want to include all the lens flares into your virtual reality.
Well, I'm thinking more like how it's set in that universe, so not necessarily all the lens flares and stuff, but more of how a lot of people there are quite a bit of the diehard fans who didn't really like the universe that it's in because of they're like, it's too much action in my Star Trek or whatever.
Yes and no. That's the thing. Movies were always not representing the show itself, because even the old crew, when they made the movies, it was after the series. After a while, it's okay. They could live out some fantasies, do some entertainment, do a movie, not just a TV show. And the same with the TNG crew later. When you saw First Contact and the other movies, they were action-packed. I did like them, but I was always aware there's something else than the TV show. So I can separate that. And J.J. Abrams' influence will be mostly on, I think, on the look of the ships and other things, these updated details and designs, which I have, again, no issue with. It was other things that rubbed me wrong with Into Darkness, but I want to go in there. And I'm totally up for it. I was thinking about going into VR. I hope it comes out on PlayStation, because I wouldn't buy a PC just for that. but the thinking of being in Star Trek is so ingrained in my brain. Thinking of hollow rooms and other things, I'm like a little child reading that and seeing what they want to do. But I'm careful. It's Ubisoft. They have a tradition of sometimes messing things up. But yes, that's something to look forward to for all fans, no matter which movies you like or which not. But the thing I saw there was that they were attacking instantly Klingon ships.
Mhm.
I was thinking, the first thing you see is, we have contact with the outer race, and we attack it instantly. That was again a little, okay, we get it. It is more up to date. Okay.
So the last bit of news that we have before we get into our nerding outs or my nerding outs is that Game of Thrones, the 6th season finale, which is not until 2 weeks from now, will have a supersized 69-minute episode, which I believe they said is about 10, 11 minutes longer than it typically is. And yeah, on June 26th. And the previous installments will have clocked in anywhere between 50 and 59 minutes, with the penultimate episode. So this episode this week on the 19th will be an hour long in length. And I heard from, I think it was on Frame Rate last week, or somewhere, that they're doing this to then get everyone used to bigger episodes but shorter seasons to pack stuff in, since they're in, this uncharted territory of the, oh, well, George R. R. Martin hasn't finished the books territory. I don't know. What do you think about this, Beat?
I'm glad they decide to do what's right for the content.
Yeah.
And extend it to the first it was 59 minutes was the record, or 60 minutes was last season, and now to 69 minutes pure content for a battle, as we see by the titles. You haven't mentioned it yet, that we have very indicative titles for these two episodes, and the Bastards War will be the next one. So we're going to see what happens between Jon Snow and Bolton. Oh, I hope this time Bolton gets it. Damn it.
Yes.
And then the Winters. Oh, damn it! I forgot the second title.
The Winds of Winter.
Thank you.
Which is
the book title.
Yeah, it's the book title for the next book. In the George R. R. Martin series. But no, so I mean, and both the episodes are directed by Miguel Safochnik. I'm probably butchering his name, and wouldn't be surprised, and I apologize if I do. And I don't know, I'm really interested in seeing this, but at the same time, I'm also really sad, because it's like, now I gotta wait another year for more Game of Thrones sort of deal, or longer, possibly even. But it's still exciting. Like, let's go out with a bang, sort of deal.
It's still an event, and that's 6 seasons in. That's quite a feat.
Yeah. But no, so that was our news, and now I'm going to nerd out about things, and I just thought of another thing I can nerd out on if you haven't come up with anything there, Beat. But the first one is, so I'm a fan of Top Gear. Beat's a fan of Top Gear. I'm not sure about Evan, and then the creator, star, writer, producer, on-air talent of Who News and Reviews, Daryl Johnston, is a fan of Top Gear, or at least the old Top Gear. And out of the three of us, I think I'm the only one who's actually enjoying this new season or series of Top Gear. I'm picturing in my head right now Daryl insulting me with all these, like, calling me a wanker and all these other British slurs and stuff like that for liking Top Gear. Whatever, I'll take it, whatever. But I think the show that you and Daryl would probably like a little bit more is Extra Gear. This is a BBC 3 online exclusive where it is Rory Reed and Chris Harris, and it's 90% classic Top Gear in its format. They have, but with in the place of some of the films that they do, it's behind the scenes stuff. Or, um, in the first episode, they did a behind the scenes thing on Chris Evans' um film on the P1 and or no the Pagani Longtail, and they showed him starting to cry. And they go back to the studio, and he's starting to cry again because of the emotions that he felt when driving that car. And it wasn't even like, oh my gosh, I'm driving this car. It was about something else that was in its ways related to that event, but it was, you know, more fond memory of like his dad or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was because I binged through them, watched the third episode, then the first and the second. But this is where, if you've been wondering, and if you've been watching the first or the main Top Gear channel or show, and you've been wondering, well, where's the news segment, or why are they only talking about or rarely talking about the celebrities things other than the cars? Like they might talk about the project that they're there to promote, but never really like anything else about their car history or, you know, anything else that Jeremy Clarkson would ask, you know, when he would do the star on a reasonably priced car. Well, this has that. This has and actually what's cool is the second episode, the guest stayed for the news segment because Chris Harris, who was a race car driver himself, he was out at the Nürburgring for the 24 hours endurance race out there, and he actually got to show off his car, which is like it looks so sweet, and is road legal, which they showed that. I'm like, what? It has a New York City New York State license plate on it in the back. I'm like, you could not drive that in New York. There's no way you could drive that in New York City. Like, it would just be loud. You would have people everyone just like either stopped because they're like, what's that noise? Oh, it's that car. What's it doing? It's wanting us to move. I can't. I need to change my pants. Sort of deal. But I don't know. I think this is the show that you and Daryl need. And it is shorter. It is because it is online, it is about 20 anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes long. So it is a little bit shorter, but I think it's still good in its stuff that it does. You know, it gives you the classic feel, but with new people. Almost like what we would expect in a way.
Is it structured like its own show, or is it bits and pieces brought together from each episode?
No, it's structured like its own. The first episode, it seemed a little bit, or maybe it was the third, but one of the episodes did seem a little bit like a clip show. Like, oh, hey, we're going to go over here. But it was still, but when they got to the news segment, it felt like it was its own thing. And even with with cutting to the deals, because it was like, in one of the episodes, it was the behind the scenes feature on Rory Reed's review of the film on the Ford Focus R8, and just all the different stuff that they do in there. Like, I'm sitting there going, okay, with some of these cars that go really fast, how do you film that? And or some of the shots that they use, like the aerial shots. I'm like, okay, do they get a helicopter just to make the car look small as it's sitting in the airfield on the X in the airfield? I'm like, oh, a drone. Well, why didn't I think that that's be what it was? Why did I have to go to a helicopter? Which they have helicopters too, but still, it's like drone, like the octocopter. Just I'm like, oh yeah, that'd make more sense. And then how long filming was, because I thought it was just, you know, they drive around and they talk about it, but no, there's that part, but then they also do the shots where it's like you see the car sort of deal, like that stuff. That's the director saying, all right, you got to come up here. Like, there's the one shots and they're on a truck with a boom where the camera's down here like this, and the car has to come up, and he gets to the point where he can't see the camera, so he's trusting in the director, like, so he's not taking out this camera that's pretty dang expensive. and then going on, and it's brilliant. They and here for the outdoor stuff where they're or outdoor the stuff where they're not on the track. I thought that was just like, oh, they're recording as they're traveling, from one British town to another. No, they section off like just a chunk of road, and like, hey, the road's closed for the next 4 hours while Top Gear films something, and it's just them driving back and forth. Like, I'm like, that sounds interesting. I wouldn't have thought they would do that. Just like, hey, just film as they're driving, sort of deal.
I think they're beloved enough that the people of London and elsewhere aren't bothered too much by it. Maybe they're even proud of the whole thing. But I was thinking that with his race car, that was with Matt LeBlanc in his car, and they ended up in a helicopter bringing them.
That was Ken Block and the unicorn, as they call it. Which I didn't realize that was a Ford Mustang. I'm like, Ken Block can drift anything, apparently.
There was so much smoke from the rubber. Oh, it was crazy. And it's true, as I like the old team because of their antics and the way how the team dynamics worked. The show itself, the showing of the cars, the design, the showing off of every angle of a car and making it own on different graphics. So they're the unsung heroes. That's true. The team that makes that up, and I'm glad that they get their spot.
Yeah.
That they can show off and say, see, here, that's what we do, and that's how we do it. And I'm all in for that. I'm watching making offs of DVDs all the time, so I'm into that as well.
Yeah. So the next TV show, and Beat, you tell me if you got anything you want to talk about here, because I see nothing on the nerding out for you. But the next one is actually, it's on the free preview, so on most American cable companies or on Hulu, you can watch the first episode for free of the TV show the pilot was written, directed, and it's created by Cameron Crowe, called Roadies. Now this stars Luke Wilson, I want to say. Yeah, Luke Wilson. And this is about the crew that prepares the stage for the band. And you're following these various characters. Was it Carla Gargino, who was in The Brink? Louise Guzman, Keisha Castle Hughes, Ron White was in the pilot and was freaking awesome in there. Like, I started hearing him and I'm like, wait, is that Ron White? Like, I went for him to say, you can't fix stupid. Sort of like with his saying. But this is a really interesting show to have here. Because it's, in a way, it's like Almost Famous. And I'm going to give away one little thing here, because it was interesting. At the end, there's the girl that you're sort of following, as she decides on whether she's going to stay or go, like leave the band and go, or leave the Roadies and go to New York to go to film school. And she starts running, and they play all these other clips, and I found it funny, like, of people running. I found it funny that one of the clips that they showed was of Royal Tenenbaums, which starred Luke Wilson and Owen Wilson. And I'm like, okay, we're getting a little meta here if we're going to play, the other famous actors here are IMDb pages, basically, just because there's a scene in there of them running. But it's really okay, and Evan is pointing out that this is on YouTube, because they post, a lot of the premium channels will post the stuff on YouTube, but the nudity is blurred out, and there's not a lot of nudity. There's like, I think maybe 2-3 scenes of nudity, and then the cursing is bleeped. So there is that. So find it on Hulu. I don't think it's bleeped out at all. But I didn't watch it through Hulu. I watched it through Xfinity, and I'm not gonna lie. This is actually getting me to, or this is helping me or convince me to I held off my Hulu subscription for a week because Hulu, they allow you to do that. And then when it's up, I'm going to include Stars with it. So, or not Stars, Showtime. And this is just helping cement that. The other bits is like some of the movies that they have on there that are Stars exclusive or Stars Showtime exclusives. I'm like, all right, that looks really cool. I think I might check that out. But it's the original shows. It's like I think Billions is in there, which I've heard a lot of good things about. House of Lies, which I've caught during their free weekends. I would just binge the entire what I had missed of House of Lies, and it's like I'm like, you know what? I just need to commit to the show and be like, okay, I'm watching House of Lies, and this one is one that I'm going to be like, okay, I need to commit and just watch this show, and so yeah, This is going to get me to get to pay $8.99 extra on Hulu for Showtime. Said it right the first time this time, haha. And the final thing before we get to the discussion topic, I might throw in a quick one, is Paper Girls number 6. This is the Image comic series written by Brian K. Vaughan and drawn by Chris Chang. I believe it's Chris. And this is the beginning of the second arc, and oh my goodness, things just got weird, is the spoiler-free review. The spoiler review is, so if you haven't read any of the first 5 volumes of Paper Girl, or first 5 issues of Paper Girls, you're in 1982, or what, like it's like the 80s, and you're following these girls who deliver the newspapers. At first, you follow this new girl. It's like her first day on the paper route, and you see her as she meets up with 3 other girls. And actually, I'm going to present that to everyone there, Beat, for the video listeners. So you have the 4 Cliff Chang. That's the artist. You have the 4 girls there. And they each have their characteristics, their quirks, their, like, you know, how they roll, sort of deal. Like the girl who's smoking there is named Max, and she's sort of the don't give a fuck leader. She will swear even though she's like 13 years old, and she's already smoking and all this stuff, and she's seen some shit, sort of deal. And the other girls, I think the girl in the middle there with the other, like, looks like she could be blonde, that's above the R and the G in Paper Girls, I think she's the new girl, if I remember correctly. But this picks up after the events of issue 5, and all of a sudden we have 3 different versions of one character in this issue, and it's, oops, did not want to do that. I wanted to do that. And I need to do... Beat, you need to unmute yourself. Yeah, because I accidentally muted you.
How dare you, sir?
I'm sorry, I hit the wrong buttons. So many buttons. Oh my gosh. But no, so Paper Girls, with issue 6, you meet, all of a sudden you're in 2016. Like, it's just like if I hadn't remembered, like, as it gone on, I'm like, oh yeah, we weren't in now modern times. I've been like, okay, cool, we're continuing on. I'm like, but we're here with the current version of one of the characters, and she runs into her past self, and it starts to get confusing, but it's a really good read. I highly recommend it. You can get it on Amazon through Comixology. You can get the first volume through through Amazon really soon. I think it's like the next couple weeks is when the first volume of the first 5 issues comes out. But I highly, highly recommend it.
And we put the link in the show notes.
Yes, we will put the link in the show notes to the issue number 6, and then to the first volume. And then the final one that I will mention is, you reminded me of this as we were talking about AMC, and this is the new TV show Ride with Norman Reedus. Now, I saw the first episode where it goes, he's riding from Los Angeles up to Santa Monica? No, that's not right. Um, Santa Barbara. No, not Santa Barbara. That was like one of the towns. It's like just south of San Francisco. It's like 2 hours south of San Francisco. Um, and he's riding on these motorcycles, and it's really cool. It's a really cool concept because for one part, it's a travel show, but the other part, it's about the motorcycles. Like he goes down to he starts off in LA and he goes down to this one guy's shop who's a legendary buyer, and they just go out and start riding, and after showing off some of his bikes. And I mean, it's just brilliantly like awesome to see these stuff done. And they're going up and they're hitting all these other little touristy things, or just things that they see. Like they see this house that this guy who is called Captain Nitwit, by the people from he lived in there from the 1920s all the way up to I think 1989 when he died. Um, he made this house, and you're walking through there, and it's just really interesting, really weird. All the things he did, like he had a house of on top of his house, and everyone called it his throne and all that. And he had in one of his bathrooms, he had his and her toilets. So it's like he said he could sit down and talk with someone. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
When I'm on the toilet pooping, I don't want to be talking to people.
That reminds me of Mark Maron. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really cool, really interesting. Seeing the Zero motorcycles. The company's called Zero, and it's all electric motorcycles. And I'm like, that would be so cool, but yet so dangerous because, the motorcycles. One of the great things that they have is the fact that they're loud. You hear a motorcycle coming, which almost makes me think, okay, if you hit a motorcyclist, you're either doing it intentionally or you just do not pay attention to the outside world while you're driving, which is scary. You should not be driving. But with those bikes, and it's like, nope, it's like dead quiet. Like you just hear, if you're listening closely, you just hear, as they're going. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like dangerous. You could just hear, I could just see like another Zero bike was in an accident. But they're so cool. They're so quick. And I actually like the motto that the guy said is like, they're not wanting to change to where everyone's riding an electric motorcycle, but they're just wanting it to be like, I feel like taking the electric bike out today. They're wanting more for that type of person, which is cool. Like they have respect for, and they have all different electric motorcycles. They got the dirt bikes. They got the Harley style motorcycles. I'm like, that is cool. That is just awesome. But that is Ride with Norman Reedus that airs Sundays at 10, I believe, on AMC. And so our discussion point is Comic-Con HQ. Now, I am in the middle of the beta right now, which I don't know exactly when it ends. I know we were talking about this earlier, and I brought this up because, Comic-Con HQ, where they're hitting it right now is the original stuff. And one of the things that they're announced for the fall is, what's it called? Mark Hamill's, the new Mark Hamill show called
Pop Culture Quest.
Pop Culture Quest, yes. Basically, where he's going around seeing people's collections, of whatever it might be, which is a cool concept. But here's the thing: I've tried this out. I've watched almost every show. I've watched almost every show in the lineup that they have, and I enjoy most of them, but I just wish they were longer. I mean, so like, and I compare all these things to, I compare all these things to the to G4, in a way. So, like you have Mostly Harmless with Steve Zaragoza, which is a little bit like Attack of the Show, Actually, I take that back. The only one I haven't watched is Adam Sessler and the Interesting People. That's the only one that I haven't watched. You got Blame It on Science, which is their science show. Oh wait, Sarah Lane is the producer of the Adam Sessler show, or Blame It on Science. Sorry, Evan's informing me that Sarah Lane is a producer on one of these shows.
Or in general?
Yeah, or is she a producer on the channel? Oh, cool. Did not know that. Um, she's the producer of the entire Comic Con HQ thing. But then What's News is really interesting. It's like The Feed meets Attack of the Show in that way. Um, you have the what is it, Endgame, which is it's sort of like X Play, but they don't really do reviews. They're not a review show. They're more like let's talk about the culture, or let's talk about different aspects of the video game industry, and shed light on this. And I saw the first episode, and the first episode was really interesting. And my honestly, my biggest problem with them is that I feel like they can make the episodes longer. Like right now, and then have a live, you hit this button and no and it's just airing shows going through. You don't have to pick and choose. It's just sit back and watch television. But right now it definitely feels like you have to find like sit there and click, okay, I want to watch this episode or this show or whatever. And it's cool, but at the same time it's like I don't know. I do enjoy the show, and I do enjoy the network. I think I might do the $50 for a year, just to try it out, to further try it out, once these other shows come up, and just finally see Con Man, which I'm surprised they don't have that out there since all of season 1 has already aired. They've already released all of season 1, and they're filming season 2 right now. But I wonder how successful this is actually going to be. I think San Diego Comic Con is going to be the big test of this, because they had promised with this that you were going to get all these access to the different panels, and all this different behind the scenes stuff. But I honestly wonder why or what it's going to look like. And honestly, a great beta for that would have been E3 sort of deal. But I don't know. I'm not in charge over there. It does look cool, but I could also see this being just rolled into something else and being better. Like you roll it into a TV channel, and Evan's pointed out, it sounds like that they're trying to fill the hole left by G4, and in a lot of ways they are. But they're doing it in their own way. Like like you could definitely tell that Kevin Pereira is heavily involved in this, because whenever What's News does like an office scene thing, they use his super creative studios office, where I think they film a lot of the things. But I don't know. I like this. Don't let the negatives or the negative stuff make you think that I don't like it. I do like the show or the network. It's just I'm curious to see where they're gonna go. Like, and are we going to get the bang for our buck for the $50 a year or $5 a month sort of deal?
Yeah, the thing is that they're more focused on the movie scene and want to add the pop culture thing. Mm-hmm. And G4 and Tech TV, you could add to that, were before the time. They were too early on, and maybe now is the time that something can flourish, something like this. And the people they chose for gives me a insight into that they know who they're talking to, that represents the geek culture well, not just another Nerdist copycat or something like that. No, yeah. They have people that know their shit. And
yeah, I mean, you got Anthony Carboni and Trisha Hirschberger, who are hosting What's News with the question mark, and you see Jeff Kanata in there quite frequently. You saw Allison Hayslip in one of the sketches. You see, when they do all these different sketches, that they bring in their friends, sort of deal, which is great. Um, like I said, you got Steve Zaragoza hosting Mostly Harmless. Um, you got Babak Ferdosi and I can't think of the girl's name. It's Riley or Riley something. I can't think of her last name. Hosting Blame It on Science, and that one's really cool. That one I want to see longer. I want to see that one be a half hour, as opposed to the 8. Like I think this past or today's episode of Because or What's News was like 7 minutes long. That's the shortest one that I've seen so far, not counting a promo. But they go up to like 19, 20, maybe 22 minutes. Like, go the full half hour, because like it seems like they almost go through it too quickly. Like they're, especially like the Blame It on Science. Like you could sit down and expand on these different news stories that you're talking about.
Maybe I'm definitely too old, but you're also on the threshold of the people that are able to keep up their attention for so long, and they go through the internet lengths that is more successful, or at least it's said so. And
that could be.
And understand them.
That could be, like, because I look at it with like Blame It on Science, or not Blame It on Science. Blame It on Science, I definitely think could, just because it seems like they hit on some of the different things. Like they'll mention the news stories, but then they'll dive a little bit deeper into one of them. But it's like you could dive further to where these people start learning stuff when they're watching the videos.
Is it like This Week in Science, in short, or is it?
A little bit. I would say it's a little bit like This Week in Science. I mean, because you got Bobak in there who knows, who's astronaut, or not astronaut. He's a rocket scientist over at JPL and all this. So it's cool. Like the last episode I saw, they were talking about the plans that Stephen Hawking and I can't think of the other person have to send a probe from our solar system, or from Earth, to the next star within 20 years. The trip only lasting 20 years.
A solar sail, when I remember.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like a supercharged solar sail, and I'm like, wait, what? And it's like they're talking about this, and there's like me, they're like, oh, that sounds so cool. And I'm like, explain the science behind this. This sounds like you're talking Star Trek to me here, like, or dark matter with their FTL drives or whatever. And it's like, come on. I just started watching Dark Matter. That's why I threw that in there. But it's like, don't tease me with this. Explain as to how this is actually going to work. It's like there's gravity assist from every planet as it goes, just slingshot, whoo, out. Is that how we're going to explain this or something?
I thought there works with ionized particles, but I won't pretend to be the scientist on that show.
I know. That's where it's like I wanted to hear more about it. And they're like, well, that's all we got to go. So if you want to message us, tweet us at ComicConHQ with the hashtag blah, 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 whatever the show is. I'm like, no, I want more. Feed me more.
Yeah, there's a show how the stuff they don't want you to know from How the Stuff Works channel, and they make a 4 to 8 minutes maximum show, and they say the rest of the in-deep thing goes into their audio podcast. So I could see that more for people that will want to have more, can reach out and get it.
I could see that if they did like BBC will do with some of their shows, like with QI, they'll do the QI XL episodes where they'll have like an additional 5-10 minutes or whatever in the episode. I could see them doing that. Like you have the Blame It on Science extra edition or extra large or whatever, sort of where they get into more of the things in there. But I mean the other ones, it's like they do seem short, but it does work. Like it's not like, oh, they're rushing through.
Yeah, it's a good sign. They leave you wanting for more. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
So as I said again with Gregor, that went on to the site, but didn't have the time to check out all their stuff. But I'm immensely interested what they deliver. And as soon as the summer strikes and we have less TV shows to watch, so I will admit to do that.
No, yeah, definitely. So, Beat, you got anything else you want to add?
Yeah, we wanted to talk about Preacher for a moment.
Okay, yeah. So we are going to hold off and talk about this next week because I got last Thursday the Preacher Volume 1 or Book 1, and just by flipping through here, I'm loving the art. It looks really, really cool. And especially because I flipped through the back and I just started going like manga style, and they got these different pin-up pages, and then I got to where they said who drew it, and I'm like, wait, what? Amanda Conner drew that? I didn't recognize that as being from Amanda Conner, and all that. So it looks really cool. Like this whole book. I'm going to try to read this through before next week to get the first few issues in on here, so I can have a somewhat of a good comparison to the TV show with the episodes that have come out so far. But what's your thought on the TV show?
So far, a great adaptation, made beautifully with much love from the makers. You sense in every scene, decision they make, okay, they know what the limitations are, and they work with it instead around it. They don't want to try to accomplish something like Supergirl with CGI. They do it with small scenes, build up, and I expect more to come.
Yeah, they do a lot of the stuff practical.
Yeah,
like the fight scene that they had in episode 2 with both of Cassidy's, I blanked on his name. Both of Cassidy's fight scenes seemed like they were more like they sped them up to 1 1/4 speed, which is perfectly fine and acceptable, and works, and really great.
Yeah, if you know Brian Brushwood, he was convinced that they did all the details, like the cars, the police cars, that all the right fonts on it. It's all the details are right from the people that are from Texas. They tend to be annoyed by many movies, but this one gets it right, and that's also something that the show puts into the effort into the details. Shows they know what they're doing and they want to deliver. And just want to say, for the people that are like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead fans and say, oh, again, people that read already the comics, we can try to keep it apart. We say we spoil now the comics or we spoil the show, so you don't have to be afraid that we just let it all out. We try to circumvent spoiling the people that only see the show.
Yeah, I will say this for a lot of people. I never compare. Well, okay, I never say like, oh, it was better here, it was better there, from the two. I always, like with Walking Dead, especially because that's the one show that I'm pretty much current on. I think I am current on all the issues, where I'm like 1 issue behind. But I never look at it like, okay, this is where the TV show is going. I'm like, this is where the TV show could possibly be going. And then when they get there and I see these points and I'm like, that's exactly like they have to go to another comic book, the comic book Art Ops, where they have a person who could just reach into the panel and pull out the person that we need for the show. That's what they've done every single time, including with Negan. I don't care that Jeffrey Dean Morgan has scruffy beard looking thing. It works. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait for season 7 to come back this fall. But
yeah, same.
Yeah. So that's where I hope to go with this, as looking at doing it backwards, because I didn't read Walking Dead before I watched the TV show. I watched the TV show, and then I'm like, oh, let's get into the comics as well. And so it was one of these things, like I can read this, I'm like, oh cool, this is where this happened, or oh, they went here instead, sort of deal. And
It's
so
just a healthy attitude, so you aren't
yeah,
part of the angry internet mobs. "Wah, this detail isn't right," and whatever. So
yeah,
I'm okay with it. I'm a stickler for many things, but it's my preferred comics besides Sandman, and still have no issues with the things they change or slightly had to adjust. I'm fully
yeah.
with it with them, and hope this show survives.
Now,
Really, really hope so.
the one that I would be interested in, and it sort of leads to a plug to uh, my co-hosts, not you, Beat, but my normal co-host
Oh.
show, Podcast of Terror, because they just did Outcast, and that one I actually, when I was on a hike, I listened to the Robert Kirkman episode of Nerdist, and how he pitched the show before even writing the comic book, and I'm like, you dumb bastard. You told the person is that your idea, basically pitching it to them to you, or yeah, pitching them on it, and now they're wanting it. You, it worked because it helped him give him deadlines and stuff to get this stuff going.
Hmm.
But as you said, it it presented this interesting challenge of writing the first issue of the book while writing the pilot at the same time, and that's an interesting thing that happened. And it's a very unique thing to happen. Um, but yeah, I'm super excited to read Preacher. I'm rubbing my hands right now, but it's like I got 30 books I think I got to read before I can get to that, which sucks, but that's also because I'm a glutton for punishment and love reading comic books. If only I could get paid to do that.
Oh.
Speaking of paying us, that's a bad segue. Um, but no, so like you guys, Galactic Netcast has bills that need to get paid. That's why we talk about the Patreon. It's not so Dave can have money so he can get this island in Aruba that he's been dreaming of, so he can move to his third country. It's so that because Dave out of the money since he started Galactic Netcast and he bought the websites, the domain and all that stuff, it's been out of his own pocket, and which works great when you got a job and it's and all that stuff. But when you're not quite working all the time and you're like, okay, I need to do this, I need to pay the bill for this or that, and then here's the Galactic Netcast bill and all this other stuff. Sort of worries. That's why we have the Galactic Netcast Patreon. It's for you guys. If you love what you're listening to here, you can help Corey out or help Dave out. You can help Corey out by doing many other things by going to Don't Ask Comics. But you can help Dave out by going to the Patreon, donating as little as $1 a month. That's 25 cents a week. That's like what? I think a penny an episode. Or no, like yeah, penny an episode for every
And
show that we do.
in case you're a cheap bastard, you get value for value. You get
Yeah.
incentives, you get perks. You can decide or help out with what stories we cover, and we have a special Slack channel for our patrons. So there's something in return. You just
Yeah. You give
come and
you
join.
give 20. This is what I love doing because I just love the idea of the thing, and I will so do it if someone pledges $20 for I'll say for 2 months in a row. You get to pitch a TV or a podcast that we do. You want Dave and me to do a comic book show? Well, guess what? You pledge $20 a month, sort of deal. And me and Dave will do a comic book show. I will find time in my schedule to be like, hey, Dave, let's record on this day, sort of deal. You want Beat to do a show? Pledge $20. You want him to do it in French or
You don't want me to do a show, pledge $20, and I won't do it. So
exactly, but it's real simple. Starts at dollar a month. You get invited into the Slack channel where you can hang out with us as we're doing our stuff. As I should be working, and I'm like, what's going on in Slack? And I'm on my watch, checking out the Slack channel. It's all at Galactic Netcast or gncast.com/support. And you can leave us a voicemail at 805-328-3966 or emailing us mail@ElseNerds.com. Daryl, I'm going to throw out another challenge for you. Call us. Call me, tell me why you hate Top Gear so much. I want the voicemail. Not
blimey.
Yeah, not tweet like you did last week there, Daryl, but actual call. And this is also assuming you watch the show, which I know you don't. And all subscription options and links can be found under our the gncast.com/subscribe, and you can find us. You can join us on Facebook and all the social medias at Galactic Netcasts, including our Twitter, which we have. The show has a Twitter at ElseNerds, which we should probably tweet from that sometime. Or you can follow the network at Galactic Netcasts. I'm at that Gregor. Corey is at Don't Ask Comics. Evan, our other producer, is at Mr_Fusion. And Beat, where can they find you on Twitter?
At Beatmaster80.
Yes. And the only other thing to say is this has been a Don't Tell Glenn production. We will see you guys next time. Beat, you're supposed to say or else.
Or else.